My best friend's divorce is starting to destroy my marriage, and I don't know how to stop it. I'm 40 years old. My husband is 37. We've been together for 10 years. My best friend Alice is 38. She's currently going through a divorce from her husband Ken, who's 44. Alice and I have been best friends long before either of us met our partners. When we both got married, we naturally became friends as couples too. My husband and Ken grew close over the years and often spent time together on their own. About a month ago, Ken told Alice he wanted a divorce. She called me completely devastated, crying, panicking, repeating over and over, I didn't think he'd actually do it. According to Alice, the last 6 months of their marriage had been rough. She said the problem started because Ken was unhappy with her job. 3 years ago, Alice got a promotion. It was a big step up in her career, but it came with a lot more responsibility and frequent business travel, around 3 to 4 months a year. Even when she was away, she worked constantly. Alice has always been extremely ambitious and successful. Ken works full-time as well. He owns a metalworking shop on their property and is almost always busy. Alice makes more money than he does now, but I wouldn't call her the sole breadwinner. Ken has always supported himself. Alice has a 12-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. Her biological father has never been involved in her life. Ken became her dad when she was 4 and later legally adopted her. As far as that girl is concerned, Ken is her father. According to Alice, Ken asked her to either move into a less demanding role or find a job that didn't require travel. She told him she would, but kept putting it off, hoping he'd eventually stop pushing the issue. This went on for a long time. She never told me exactly how long. Things came to a head when Alice extended a work trip while she was already away and completely forgot about a family vacation that had been planned right after her return. She didn't talk to Ken before agreeing to stay longer. Later, she apologized and promised to make it up to him and to their daughter. She said she didn't have a choice. Whether that's true or not, I honestly don't know. Ken was upset, but he didn't explode. He stayed calm. When Alice came home, she found his belongings packed. Most of his workshop equipment had already been moved into storage. He hadn't warned her. He hadn't argued. He'd acted like everything was fine until she walked through the door. She called me in complete shock, repeating, "I didn't think he'd actually leave." At first, she was heartbroken. Very quickly, that heartbreak turned into anger once Ken made it clear he wasn't coming back. During all of this, Ken and my husband stayed in contact. My husband knew they'd been having problems, but he didn't understand the full extent until Ken actually left. Ken told him that Alice had emotionally checked out of the marriage a long time ago, around the time she took the promotion. They stopped spending time together as a family. She was always busy, always traveling, never really present. Ken also told my husband things Alice never told me. He said that while she was away, he tried to keep some intimacy alive by asking for flirty messages or explicit photos. She refused, but somehow still found time to go out drinking and partying with coworkers. Their sex life had basically disappeared. He said he brought these problems up multiple times, and she brushed him off every time. According to Ken, things got significantly worse after one particular incident. They had been living separately for about 3 weeks. Their daughter was splitting time between Ken's apartment and the house Alice stayed in. That weekend was Ken's scheduled time with her. He always brought her back on Sunday evenings. Alice went on a heavy binge and completely lost track of what day it was. This was extremely out of character for her. She thought it was Saturday. It was actually Sunday. Ken arrived with their daughter, walked into the house, and found Alice drunk in the hot tub with 2 younger men. They weren't having sex at that exact moment, but it was very obvious what the situation was. Alice started screaming at Ken, insulting him, yelling that it wasn't even Sunday yet. Ken told his daughter to wait in the car so she wouldn't see any more of it. Then they left. The next day, Alice didn't remember any of it. She had sent Ken a series of horrible, drunk messages. I only saw them because Ken sent screenshots to my husband. I won't quote them, but they were extremely personal and vicious. After that, Ken went straight to a lawyer. He wants the house. He wants custody. He legally adopted her daughter and is asking for child support. In his words, he's done protecting Alice. Alice completely fell apart. She's nothing like herself anymore. She's in a really bad place. She needs support. And realistically, I was the only close friend she had left. Even her own daughter preferred living with Ken. I wasn't willing to abandon my best friend. That's when the problem shifted to my own marriage. My husband told me he wanted Alice out of our lives completely. He said some really ugly things about her, called her a terrible mother, selfish, narcissistic. He said he didn't want her drama dragging me down or turning me into someone like her. When I told him she'd hit rock bottom and just needed help, he said this was who she really was. That he didn't understand why I'd want people like that in my life at all. I was convinced Ken had filled his head with one-sided stories and that my husband was just defending his friend. I wasn't justifying Alice's behavior, but demanding I cut off a lifelong friendship felt extreme. Alice asked to meet a few times. Once, I went without telling my husband because I already knew what his answer would be. I just wanted to talk to her in person. When I admitted it later, my husband lost it. He said that if I didn't cut her out of my life, then our marriage would be next. At the time, I genuinely believed he was overreacting. After reading people's responses, I noticed something uncomfortable. Many pointed out that I hadn't said a single good thing about Alice. When I reread everything, I realized they were right. She hadn't always been like this. The drinking, neglecting her family, and obsession with work were recent. Before that, she was a good mother. Our families were close. She and Ken were happy. Everything slowly changed after her promotion. I decided to talk to her one last time. We planned to meet Saturday morning. I was going to bring coffee, help her with a few things around the house, and gently tell her that people were worried. I hoped we could have an honest conversation. I hoped she'd agree to therapy. I hoped I'd see my friend again. Instead, she was aggressive from the second I arrived, like she already knew why I was there. When I said I was worried about her, she snapped that she was fine, just blowing off steam. She said that now that Ken had left her, she could do whatever she wanted. She started trashing Ken, saying she'd paid for his life, supported him, carried him. Listening to it made my stomach turn. Ken is a hard worker. He never depended on her money. Early in their relationship, he was the primary provider. When I asked if she'd cheated, she immediately became defensive. She said, "I can't believe you'd even think that about me." I reminded her about the hot tub incident. She brushed it off and swore she'd never cheated. She said the men were interns from her company. When I asked how old they were, she smirked and said, "They were legal." The way she said it made my skin crawl. Then something else felt off. While we talked, she was packing for a trip. I asked where she was going. She said Dallas. That didn't immediately worry me. She'd traveled there many times for work. But what she was packing didn't make sense. Hoodies, jackets, boots, beanies, cold weather clothes. I barely saw any professional outfits. Then I noticed a Seattle Mariners t-shirt. She has never followed baseball. Not once. I didn't confront her right then. We hugged. I told her I loved her and wanted her to be happy. I said I hoped she'd consider therapy when she got back. She said she'd think about it. It felt like we ended on a positive note. When I got home, I told my husband about the clothes and the shirt. He agreed it was strange, and then went full internet detective. The biological father of her daughter lives in Seattle. His Facebook profile picture was taken at a Mariners game. My stomach dropped. I checked the MLB schedule. The Mariners had home games that exact week. I called Alice and asked if she was really flying to Dallas. She said yes. I asked if she was sure she wasn't flying to Seattle to see her ex. She went silent. Almost a full minute passed before she spoke. She admitted it. They'd reconnected right after Ken left. She said he'd changed, that he was better now, that he wanted to see his daughter. That man abused her. He cheated on her while she was pregnant, kicked her out, beat her, and told her the baby wasn't his problem. I was the one who flew to Seattle, picked her up and brought her home all those years ago. I lost it. I told her that out of everything she'd done recently, this was the worst. I told her if she got on that plane, I was done. Completely. She got on the plane anyway. I blocked her. That night, I sat on the couch and cried until my husband held me. He didn't say, "I told you so." He didn't lecture me. He just let me fall apart and told me he was sorry. The next morning, Alice texted, apologized for lying, and said she was an adult woman who could take care of herself. I asked if she was still going to Seattle. She said yes. That was it. I told Ken everything. He wasn't surprised. He said he was sorry I'd lost a friend. I told him I was sorry he'd lost his wife. You were right. I feel like an idiot, and maybe it's selfish, but I also feel deeply, personally betrayed.
That's where the story ends. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of this story in the comments. Subscribe to the channel and see you next time.